The last three parts of the Spirit are faithfulness, humility, and self control, which are graces that guide our conduct. What exactly is faithfulness? The Holman's Bible Dictionary defines faithful as steadfast, dedicated, dependable, and worthy of trust. Interestingly, the word faithful comes from the same Hebrew root word as Amen, which as Christians is a word we use frequently to show our belief in God. As Christians, we know and see how faithful God is to us, and His word stands true and His promises never fail. And hence, faithfulness is a foundational Christian character that is necessary for a godly life. Our faithfulness greatly influences how we love God and love others, including whether or not we remain loyal to relationship, sound doctrine, and God. Abraham and Sarah's examples of faithfulness are timeless in their demonstration of commitment, willingness to believe God, and to act on their beliefs despite growing physical evidence to be the contrary. Abraham turned his back on everything that wasn't approved by God and moved forward with only God's promises guiding him. Many of the things God commands and tells us in the Bible truly don't seem physically possible, making it hard for us to believe. Well, that may be because they aren't physically possible and require God's intervention and help. Like Abraham and Sarah having a child in their old age, they had to wrestle with faithfulness, but in the end, God was faithful and they came to be counted faithful as well. How do we demonstrate more faithfulness? We must allow our belief and trust in God and the teachings of the Bible to shape our thoughts, speech, and action towards God and others. Faithfulness is necessary when God's promises seem to be completely contradicting to what we see, when God's ways are hidden from us, when evil strikes, when hardships come one right after another. That's when we need the Spirit to produce His fruit of faithfulness in us. Faith is the opponent of fear. Faith protects us from fear, and fear erodes faith. Ephesians 6:13 to 17 lists the armor of God as one of it to be faith. In addition to all, is a shield. If our shield of faith is strong enough to put out all the flaming arrows of the enemy, we can stand spiritually strong and steady. Mark 4:35 to 41 tells us a story of Jesus calming the storm. After being roused by the terrified disciples, Jesus stopped the winds and the waves and said, "Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith?" Mark 4:40. We are used to being told that trials bring about spiritual growth. Here's another side. It wasn't that Jesus was intentionally using a fierce storm to grow disciples' faith. It is that he didn't even consider the situation worthy of notice. The disciples feared because they had no faith. Their faith later grew to the point where imprisonment became an opportunity for a praise service. Faith in God means not fearing worldly troubles, not just because God's sovereign will is for our benefit, but because we count all things to be loss in the view of the surpassing value of knowing Christ. Philippians 3 verse 8. God is faithful and He grants that quality to His children by His Spirit. Do you covet this gift? Do. Be blessed.